back here at Kayhan TV Studios, and this is the special NBA playoff preview edition of Sports Break. I got Vlad Kitajczyk here, and now we got to talk about the Eastern Conference playoffs. Let's get this over with. The Celtics won their game last night and clinched the number one seed. The Cavs apparently didn't care about the number one seed or home court against the Celtics, so they rested at the end of the season. Which, despite losing home court throughout the playoffs, may be a blessing in disguise as they avoided the Chicago Bulls in the first round. That first round matchup will instead be the Celtics and the Bulls. I actually like this matchup. As much as I may hate on the Eastern Conference playoffs, the Bulls have a lot of talent. Maybe a dysfunctional bunch. Vlad, what do you make of this series? Could this be trouble for the number one overall seeded Boston Celtics?
Yes, because the Bulls are utterly insane. God. I don't know what they're going to do. Nobody knows what they're going to do, what you're going to get out of them, how well they're going to play. One night they'll look like they could beat anybody in the league. Another time they'll lose to the New York Knicks, the Brooklyn Nets. They could lose to anybody. They could beat anybody. They're wild. So, can they beat the Celtics? Yes. Can you rely on that, though? 4 times in the best of 7 series without home court? I don't know. It's going to be tough. And I don't think they'll pull it off. I mean, they have too much dysfunction. They don't have a great coach. Yes, they have talent. They have Butler. They have Wade. They have Rondo. They have some other good sort of pieces. I mean, I wouldn't say good, but they're pieces. And we'll see. But I don't know, man. I don't see it for them. I just don't. I think they'll come close. It'll be exciting. They'll make it fun. They might even have a lead in the series.
You think so? You think they could steal one in Boston and then go up 2-1 in Chicago?
Something like that. But I don't think they'll be able to win 4 because they're just not well coached and they're not well disciplined enough to win.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, so you don't like Fred Hoiberg?
Well, I haven't. I mean, yes, if you watch.
What if Tom Thibodeau was the coach of the Bulls? Would you give them a better chance? They probably wouldn't be the 8th seed in that case.
Of course, that's another thing. But yes, if Tom Thibodeau was the coach, they would move on. 100%. But that's not here nor there. They're stuck with what they got. And with what they got, I don't think they're going to advance. But they'll make it really, really exciting because they're an exciting team. They've been all over the place since the season started. There's been dysfunction in the locker room. There's been dysfunction on the floor. But also there's been good times like Jimmy Butler, and Wade has been injured off and on. And nobody knew he was even coming back when he got injured, near the end of the season. But he's back. He's going to be there. We'll see. I mean, with their experience, they have a chance because the Celtics are young players. None of these guys have that. They don't have that experience. Anything can happen, but I don't know. I don't see it. It's just too much dysfunction.
Well, it's interesting for me. I still don't think the Bulls really have an identity. Jimmy Butler is their go-to guy. Dwayne Wade is their playoff experienced guy, though.
Right.
And a lot of this is going to depend, I think, on how much he has left in the tank.
Sure.
And if Jimmy Butler doesn't come through, it has to be Dwayne Wade. So let's see if he can carry them. All right, Vlad. We got to move on to the second seed. Let's go in order here. The Cavs. The Indiana Pacers and Paul George will head to Cleveland to take on the champions. Is this a sweep? Or are the Cavs going to have trouble flipping the switch and rolling through this team? It seems they're sort of doubting it themselves.
Flipping the switch is an old Laker thing, by the way. We used to have to flip the
That's
switch
where it
in the playoffs.
originated.
That's where it originated, yeah.
You have to throw the Lakers in there.
I have to, because, hey, we're not in the playoffs. I have to throw us in somewhere, right? Okay. I hope the Pacers get swept. I hope they get beaten badly. I hope Paul George wants to leave in Indiana, and I hope he comes to the Lakers in the offseason.
My God.
That's the only reason. But no, in reality, I mean, they probably will be able to win a game in Indiana. One game. I doubt they'll win more than that. They're not a really good team. Paul George is a great player, despite what you said on the show previously. He will be able to get a game from Cleveland at home, probably game 3 or 4. They'll win 1, and they'll probably lose in 5. I mean, maybe 6. That's pushing it, I think. But that's it. That's as far as it goes. 5. Let's just call it 5.
Well, I would agree, only because it seems like the Cavs are still not there in terms of wanting to push themselves. And I don't know if, maybe they won't flip on the switch. Maybe they'll coast through the playoffs in the East and have to lose some games and maybe that's the only way they can do it now. They're an older team. LeBron's an older team.
Well,
an older guy, I mean.
How sure are you that there's actually a flip to switch for the Cavs? Or is this maybe as good as they are? Maybe this is it.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
I mean, maybe there is. I mean, it's hard to say because they're playing against pretty bad competition in the East. We won't really know until maybe even later in the later rounds, possibly. But it's hard to say. I mean, is there a flip to switch for them? Maybe not. This might be it. They're just not that great.
Well, they don't have as much depth as they did last year. That's for sure. Their bench suffered. They lost Dellavedova.
What about the defense? The defense is atrocious. Last year, somehow they defended. They're one of the worst defensive teams. One of the worst defending champions, on defense.
I think they're gonna save that last extra drive they have for when they play the Warriors. Maybe they think that they only have that in them for 4 games to kill themselves, to push themselves, and go beyond what they are.
Fair point.
All right, Vlad, we got to move on. We got a lot to get to. This is a big show. Special NBA playoff preview show. The 3-6 matchup will be Toronto and Milwaukee. Toronto Raptors and Milwaukee Bucks. Jason Kidd's first playoff appearance as coach of the Bucks. Are you interested by this series? Can it be a 3-6 upset? Lots of talented players on both of these teams. What do you think, Vlad?
Am I interested? I mean, not really, but will I watch? Yes, because I'm a basketball fan. I love basketball. I love NBA playoff basketball. I've been watching it since 1996, so I will definitely watch, as always. But, you have great players. You have the Greek Freak. He's a talented young player.
What's his name?
I don't know. Something Giannis, who can pronounce his last name?
Antetokounmpo.
Yeah, well, God bless you. Anyways, he's a great young player. He can get it done. He's probably the future of the league because he's young, he's athletic. He kind of reminds people of like a Kevin Durant, but maybe even a better defender. So definitely an interesting player. On the Raptors side, you have DeRozan and Lowry, 2 great perimeter players, and it will be. I mean, the Raptors, some are saying, could be that threat for Cleveland. They could be that threat in the East. So definitely would be interesting how they play that first round matchup and how good they look. Because if they really look good against Milwaukee, I mean, not that Milwaukee's like the end all be all, but hey, if they start looking good, they could really become a threat.
So you're taking the Raptors?
Oh yes, the Raptors are going to win the series, and the Bucks have they don't have Jabari Parker, who's probably their second best player. He continuously gets injured all the time, unfortunately for the Bucks, and they don't have enough there to beat a Raptors team, without home court. So I mean, yes, the Raptors sometimes have been embarrassing as far as in the playoffs in the past couple of years, but they've got to the Eastern Conference Finals last year, and I kind of expect them to do it again this year.
Well, that's interesting because if they do get by the Bucks rather quickly, maybe they'll have some time before they take on the Cavaliers, and we'll see if they give them any type of trouble. And finally, the 4-5 matchup, the Washington Wizards will take on the Atlanta Hawks. Vlad, how highly do you rate John Wall and this Wizards team? Are they a team that will give the Celtics a run for their money in the second round, or are they going to be stifled by the Hawks?
They won't be stifled by the Hawks. Okay, first question, let me go in order. How high do I rate Wall? I mean, he's a good player. He's had a great year. I'm not really high. I mean, what has he really done? Not much. Now they're trying, finally they're starting to become something, but I don't really see it for them. I do think they should be able to beat Atlanta because, I mean, any team with Dwight Howard is doomed for failure, so it doesn't matter. But I don't expect this to be a great series. This might be the least exciting series of the Eastern Conference playoffs first round for sure.
Well, you kind of cut me off at the pass for my next question. It was, is there any chance Dwight Howard shows up in this series and defends the paint for this team?
Well, I'm not going to say that he won't play well. There's a chance he could play well, but they're just not going to win because they're not that great. They don't have enough there. They're an inconsistent team. If you play an 82-game season and you win like 43 games, that's what you are, man. You're a 43-win team. So, that's what it is. It is what it is. So I expect Dwight Howard to play reasonably well. He's more comfortable in Atlanta than he was playing in Houston when he was with Howard, and definitely than he was when he was with the Lakers playing with Kobe. So he's more comfortable playing in Atlanta. He's at home. He's from Atlanta, but there's just not enough there, and the Wizards are gonna carve them up pretty easily. I expect it to be a 5-game series.
Well, from what I've seen of the Hawks this year, Dwight Howard definitely doesn't want to be the star on offense. He doesn't want to contribute. He just kind of wants to be a role player. But a lot of it is going to depend, just as when he was in Houston, how he defends the paint, because that could make a team double what they are. If you block off the paint and you make everyone shoot perimeter jumpers with the hand in their face, it could change the dynamic of the series. But like we said, we don't know what kind of Dwight Howards we're going to get out of the series. So this comes to our last question for the East. Vlad, I got to ask you, we have time to make more predictions throughout the playoffs, but is there any chance, and you touched on it a little bit, but is there any chance the Cavs don't get through the East?
Chances are no. I mean, they will make it, is what I'm saying. They probably will make it. But yes, this will be the hardest time making it this year, because they're not, like I said, they really took in the regular season lax. It's been, they've taken it for granted. And they're not even the first seed. They didn't even have home court. They couldn't even get the first seed. Now I know you're going to say, well, that doesn't matter, but come on, man, you can't. Who were they playing against? They couldn't get the number one seed. They couldn't win more than 53 games. I don't know.
Well, they probably think the rest is more important for them as an older team. That Kyrie Irving is a guy who's had injury problems in his life.
Old.
Well, they have injury problems. They're injury prone. LeBron has fatigue issues. He's already had an NBA Finals game that he couldn't even get through. He didn't even foul out, but he couldn't get through the game.
That was years ago, though.
Yeah, but
air conditioning. Blame the Spurs air conditioning. He had a cramp.
All right. Well, we know how you feel there. We got that out of the way. We got the East out of the way. When we come back after a quick word from our sponsors, we'll get to the big boys, the Western Conference playoffs. We'll be right back.